As we move along the length and breadth of this fair land, we'll come across scores of Barbadians engaged in one of their favorite pastimes, the ever-popular road tennis. In this program, we'll learn about its origins with some of its key players and officials.
Road tennis was started back in the 1930s, and it came as the result of people observing lawn tennis and table tennis. These games were played by visitors to the island, people who were more affluent than the average working person, children and so on. So due to that, young people got to see the games, but they could not afford the equipment to play the lawn tennis. Many people could not even afford to get a table tennis board and table and so on. I suppose people would have tried in some ways, but to get the quality, they couldn't. But what happened is that the guys who would work with the lawn tennis players would get the balls that were beaten out, that were no longer up to the required standard. And they took those balls, and what they did is they took the table tennis table and they put it on the floor, they put it on the roads and so on. And they would usually use a green leaf, whatever they could. But as time went on, the game became more refined. And they used this scoring system that was used by table tennis. So we can say that it was table tennis and lawn tennis, and out of that we got the hybrid, and we call it road tennis.
Road tennis was derived from humble origins and has now taken its rightful place on the sports calendar. As the game began to develop, players came up with various techniques.
Now, it became even more advanced because people saw ways that they could they could earn money from it. Because what would happen is that players that became really adept at the game, what they did was they would travel from neighborhood to neighborhood where the game was being played, and they would bet money. They would bet money, and that was their way of earning extra income and so on.
Concerted efforts by the government of Barbados, the National Sports Council, and the Barbados Road Tennis Association have seen the game blossom and emerge from the shadows to claim its rightful place alongside the more established sports.
Well, the government has played an important part in the evolution of road tennis. Over the last 3 years, we have seen the Barbados Road Tennis Open come to fruition, and that has also increased the popularity of road tennis.
Right.
You are sure to see road tennis being played in many central areas, but there are courts island-wide.
We have the Dayton Power Roach Center that's in Bushall. We also have Belfield, Silver Hill, persons playing all these things. And then when we look at the wider part of the country, we have Diamond Corner, we also have Maynards in St. Peter, and also a freshly painted court was done in Orange Hill. Tennis is all over Barbados.
A test of the greatness of any sport is the ability to attract new players, and road tennis has been growing increasingly in popularity and is now able to attract corporate sponsors, thus giving the sport that boost and financial fillip it so desperately needed. A number of champions have emerged. One of them is Kim Holder.
I first started playing road tennis at the age of 10 years old. In those times, I had multiple playing outdoor sports, which include road tennis, and I fell in love with the sport.
She takes her training seriously.
Preparing for a game, you go basically we training. Otherwise, you have a training partner where you can do drills, and basically you change your diet physically, you know. Mostly activities that to keep your mind more mental and more focused on what you try to do.
Kim has a specific routine that she follows.
You gotta set your goals. You gotta know what goals you wanted from the sport and what you wanted to achieve in any sport that you play. But basically, mentally, I prepared. Well, everybody got their own training style. I do a lot of skipping, I do a little jogging, sit up, whatever, you know, a little cycling in between. But basically, I do a lot of court work.
Seasoned champion Sandra Bailey, now in her 60s, also enjoys the game. Like Kim, her interest was piqued from a tender age.
When I was a little girl, around 10 or so, I used to play with my brother and my friends through the district. So we used to play from sunup to sundown. We also play with a furball first, on mud, and everything.
Sandra attests that any true champion must have a fighting spirit.
Well, I love to play the fellas, and I love to beat them. So they met me to come back all the time. I remember one evening I went out street side road and I played a fella and I saw him and he went down the road with the net. So all of that inspired me.
The journey to becoming a champion starts with the mind.
The champion should be very positive, very humble and quiet, and focus on what you're doing. You cannot lose focus. When you go out there to play the game, you have to concentrate on your opponent and how to beat him or her, and then you will know. But you have to be very, very, very confident in what you're doing.
We also traveled to Belfield St. Michael and found champions Julian White and Tyrese Holder in a game. First, Julian shares how he got his nickname.
The nickname came about when I entered my first tournament in 1999, a banks tournament, and the name came about because of long flowing jolly curls. Fortunately or unfortunately for me, I cut them off because I didn't really like the name, but I still stuck up to this very day.
He holds an impressive list of titles, but how did he become a champion?
It all started when I moved from playing in the Ivy, when I thought I really could have played. When I went to one of the more tennis areas, which was the village near down Station Hill, I meet the inventors like Antoine Daniel, Jim Haynes, Jeffrey Barbados, Travis Seeley, and those playing the game. I was still, although I was playing good, it was still like a beginner, you know. So after a while, it was me, myself, Trevor King, Anthony Toussaint, Randolph Drake, the five of us would get up early on mornings, and we would start playing tennis from 9. And it was an 8-hour job for us because we was laid off from the work when we had the 8% cut back then. And we would stop playing tennis about 4:30, 5 o'clock. When the other set come on to play, we would give in to them. So I started looking at it as more as a job. And wanting to go far in the game is what you put in, is only you could get out of the game. So that was my type of training, enough running, because I wanted to be one of the top players. After seeing Jeffrey Barabas and my good friend Anthony Tiny Jordan, which was the #1 player at the time, give me some coaching tips on how to play and how to play every individual player. It only went from strength to strength to me. And then it ended off after winning my first tournament in 1999, which was a banks tournament too as well. I ended up the most successful road tennis player to date.
Road tennis is now being played throughout the Caribbean, in St. Vincent in particular, and the United States. You may be surprised to know that road tennis's appeal continues to grow and has garnered interest internationally. Professor Warren Keller of Gallaudet University in Washington, D.C., the foremost tertiary college for deaf persons, came to Barbados to learn more about the sport.
I'm here on vacation to meet different deaf people, go to deaf school, try new sports, new challenges that I've never seen before.
He was intrigued by the game and plans to teach others in his country.
Gallaudet is the only university in the world. I work with different directors, 23 different sporting groups, basketball, soccer, baseball, different sports like swimming, volleyball. And I have pickleball too. In America, we love pickleball. We love pickleball.
After a friendly game, he was presented with rackets and a ball.
Thank you so much. Oh my God.
But what about young people? If the sport is to grow, we must give them every opportunity to participate.
Our association, when we partner with the Harris Paints group of companies, we have gone into many of the schools in Barbados and actually painted courts and got involved with the principals and the PE teachers and got the word out there about the road tennis, and a lot of them have come aboard with our initiative along with the junior tournaments that we have been having.
These 8-year-old youngsters of St. Giles Primary School were already playing on this court in the Ivy like seasoned professionals. But one young person who has reaped significant rewards is 19-year-old Tyrese Holder. His Aunt Kim is also a champion.
Well, I started road tennis as a young primary school boy back in superlative St. George. I was inspired by my Aunt Kim Holder and other road tennis players in the community. Although I liked track and field, I saw road tennis as a more competitive and a more actively inspiring sport.
Standing 6 feet 3 inches tall, this articulate and confident young man makes sure he is well prepared for any match.
Well, first I start with fitness. I think fitness is a really important sporting aspect in road tennis. I do a lot of running, a lot of skipping. Also the mental part of the game, I watch a lot of inspirational videos like Kobe Bryant and his moment mentality, and just watching a lot of inspirational videos just to get in the groove to go out there and dominate the game.
Very good. Just put it on. Control the ball. Control it.
With its growing appeal, the players are playing their part in giving back to the community.
Well, at this present time, on Saturdays from 9 to 11, I coach a little group in my community. I give back to my community, and I provide them with rackets, balls, etc. I actually keep maintaining the court. They would paint and what's not to just keep them be mentally focused. I use myself as a mentor for those kids.
Sandra is also working with young persons.
Well, I have some youth in Bushall that we play with every night. And sometimes you have to talk to them. You have to talk to them because some of the youth in Barbados lost. And we don't know how we can get them back, but you have to talk to them. Because sometimes when you're playing them, they go astray. You have to shout at them and tell them, listen, man, focus on the game and be more serious.
If road tennis is to achieve its rightful place at the top, there must be a collaborative effort among all stakeholders. That is, government officials, key players, officials, sponsors, and the community.
One of the problems that we faced was that we didn't attempt to really get into our tourism product, because what I realize is that we in Barbados did something that nobody else in the West Indies did. We created an indigenous sport, probably without even realizing it. But if we had made that something of value, something to be proud of, we could have marketed road tennis with the tourism industry. Because I honestly don't believe that you should even be allowed to build a tourist resort without including road tennis into it.
We can do a lot, but first, we have to get a multi-millionaire to sponsor road tennis so that when they sponsor it, they don't want nothing from it, so that it will be able to get into the homes and everything. And that's the only way we will get it to. And we need to get everybody on board. That is what is the problem. We ain't got the people on board. Everybody wants a little piece of this, a little piece of that. When they don't play, they want to pay. I play for free. And some people didn't play, and they say playing for a lot of money. I the oldest woman being another lady that played 3 best in 5. That was in the IDC tournament. And that was for free.
Now that you know a little bit more about this fascinating game, what are you waiting for? Get on your gear and get onto the court.